shocking, disgraceful, deplorable, dreadful. These are all adjectives that I've seen describing the Texans' 20-17 loss to the Tennessee Titans on Sunday afternoon. There are even those out there contending that the loss, which occurred at the hands of a Titans team missing its four most important defensive players, is the worst of the Bill O'Brien era. Now, I have done a post-game radio show for every single Bill O'Brien coached game in Texans history, except for one. Week 2, 2015, I was emceeing the one-man show of my friend Jim Ross at Warehouse Live, a promise I'd made before I began working at Sports Radio 610, so with all due respect to those making their bombastic declarations of a nadir for the O'Brien era, nobody is better qualified to make this assessment than I am. I've taken all the phone calls, read all of the texts and tweets, and sat up until 2 in the morning after prime-time games playing wet nurse to the fourth largest city in the world for over 4 years now. So, without further ado, here are the 5 worst losses of the Bill O'Brien portion of Texans history, with a few honorable mentions to start off. Honorable mentions, in chronological order: Cowboys 20, Texans 17, OT, Week 5, 2014. The first taste of O'Brien's too cute for his own good play calling, when he dialed up a pass play on 3rd and 2 at the Dallas 48-yard line in overtime after Arian Foster busted out 24-yard and 6-yard runs just 2 plays before. The pass fell incomplete, and 4 minutes later, the Cowboys closed out the game on a Dan Bailey field goal. Steelers 30, Texans 23, Week 7, 2014. The Texans were well in control of this Monday night affair, until the Steelers somehow scored 24 points in the final 3:08 of the first half to go into the locker room ahead 24-13. And by somehow, I mean the Texans turned the ball over twice in the final 2 minutes of the half. That this somehow doesn't crack the top 5 says all you need to know about some of the heartbreak we've endured. Chiefs 27, Texans 20, Week 1, 2015. This was the game where Brian Hoyer threw a pick on the first offensive play of the season. Ryan Mallett would come in and lead an empty comeback to one of the more deceptive final scores in team history. Falcons 48, Texans 21, Week 4, 2015. It was tough choosing between this game and the Dolphins game 3 weeks later, as the two were so similar. I'll give you my reasons why I chose the Dolphins game, but in this one, just know that the Texans fell behind 42-0 before maximizing garbage time in the fourth quarter. I'll always remember this game as the post-game show where I had my first real tirade as the host. I destroyed everybody on the team, while sitting across the table from former Texan and post-game co-host Chris Myers, who was actually on the Texans the year before and teammates with most of the guys I'd just verbally murdered. Myers looked at me like he was ready to call 911. I miss you, Chris Myers. Jaguars 29, Texans 7, Week 1, 2017. Like the Chiefs game in 2015, the starting quarterback didn't make it out of the first game before being yanked from the 2017 season opener. Coming into this game, the city was needing a rallying point following Hurricane Harvey. The highlight of the game was J.J. Watt running out of the tunnel with a Texas state flag. After that, it was all downhill. Okay, here are my top 5.5. Dolphins 44, Texans 26, Week 7, 2015. 3 weeks after falling behind 42-0 to the Falcons, the Texans fell behind 41-0 to a bad Miami team being coached by some interim nut job. Ryan Mallett, who'd lost the starting job back to Brian Hoyer, what an awful time in team history, missed the flight to the game, and Arian Foster's Texans career ended on a ruptured Achilles in the fourth quarter of a game he never should have been in. 4. Colts 33, Texans 28, Week 6, 2014. One thing the 2014 Texans were really good at, giving up points in bunches. 1 week before giving up 24 points in 3 minutes to the Steelers, the Texans rewarded a Thursday night national TV audience by giving up 24 points in the first quarter to the visiting Colts. Included in there was a Colts onside kick, a rushing touchdown by Trent Richardson, and 2 Andrew Luck touchdown passes. The Texans made a second-half comeback that fell short when Ryan Fitzpatrick fumbled on a sack with under 2 minutes to go on what could have been the go-ahead drive. Poor Fitzy. 3. Patriots 27, Texans 0, Week 3, 2016. This was the Thursday night game where the Patriots were missing Tom Brady, suspended, and Jimmy Garoppolo, injured, so they started Jacoby Brissett, a third-string rookie. Unfortunately, the Texans started Brock Osweiler, who miraculously, and unfortunately, was an Iron Man, immune to injury. 2. Chiefs 30, Texans 0, Wildcard Round, 2015. In Bill O'Brien's playoff debut, the first play of the game was a Knile Davis kickoff return for a touchdown. Brian Hoyer turned the ball over 5 times, and J.J. Watt was used as a running back on a goal line play, running behind Vince Wilfork, while nursing a groin injury that would, later that afternoon, tear completely and begin a vicious cycle of Watt-ending seasons with debilitating injuries for 3 straight years. 1. Titans 20, Texans 17, Week 2, 2018. Well, it turns out that everyone saying Sundays was the worst loss in team history was correct. At least in all of these other games, the Texans were an underdog, or a pick'em in New England in 2016. The Texans were a 4-point favorite in this game. An utter disgrace. Listen to Sean Pendergast on Sports Radio 610 from 2 to 6 p.m. weekdays. Also, follow him on Twitter at http://twitter.com/StPendergast and like him on Facebook at https://www.facebook.com/StPendergast.